Hi friends, Mindy here. I am setting up my book for Bible University. This is the latest study from Llanet, Topknots and Jesus, and the artwork is done by Salted Brew. Just flipping through here, these are the pages that I have printed out. It comes so that you can print it in either format when you buy the printable. This one is really designed to be kind of printed back to back, which I didn't realize when I printed it. And I also printed on really heavyweight paper, and so as I was folding the pages and trying to nest them in, I realized it was just going to be too thick. So I went ahead and printed the other version, which is actually a little bit bigger. So I think I'm going to like that anyway. But what I am going to do is I'm going to be coil binding this book. So I don't want to lose any of the image or any of the words. So I'm planning to leave myself about a quarter of an inch, no, about a half an inch on the side where the binding is going to be. And I'll use those registration marks I was showing you to line this up so that I can just make sure that I have, it's going to end up being about a half an inch on that side. That way when I go through to punch the holes, I won't lose any of the words or any of the images or anything. I'll just have a white strip, and then you don't really notice it once the coil's in. So just kind of showing you what that's going to look like here. So I will be trimming down all of these pages, and then I'll be putting them back to back so it would flip like a traditional book, but it can also make little pockets or whatever. So I'm just taking my paper trimmer here, and I'm going to use these registration marks to kind of help me. So I'm lining this registration mark here with up at a half an inch on my paper trimmer, and that is going to give me a white edge on the left side of this page, so that I have it's about a half an inch. So you can see when I punch it, the holes will be all in the white space instead of in the actual image. And then I'll use the registration marks to actually trim down the rest of it. So it won't have a white border around all three sides. It'll just be the white border on the left side. So these registration marks are really helpful to get this lined up. And my trimmer has like a wire that runs down the middle too, so you can kind of see where you're trimming, which is helpful when you have an image like this. So I'm just going through and showing you, I'm just using those registration marks, making sure it's all lined up, and then I have my first page. This will be the cover. So now this will be, when you flip the cover, this will be the inside left. So now I need to make sure that the holes are going to be on the right. So I'm using the registration marks, but I'm just kind of either on the left side or the right side of the page, depending on where it's going to fall in the book. And then using the other registration marks to just trim out so that all of my pages end up being the same size. And I will go and do that for all of the pages in this booklet for Bible University here. This is what it will look like, and I'm showing here, like I might glue it completely or I might leave it open, like glue it on two sides so that I can create a little pocket. I haven't quite decided yet, so for now I'm just going to leave it all open. So I'm going to go through and cut down all of the pages, kind of alternating that half an inch on either the left or the right side. That way I can bind it all together. And this is what it looks like when it's all finished. You can see, like I said, I used a pretty heavyweight paper, so my book is going to be pretty thick, but it will open just like a regular book, reading, left to right. So now I'm going to coil bind it. I have the Heidi Swap cinch machine from We Are Memory Keepers. This is the older version. I've had it for a while and I love it. It's super easy to use. I've had binding machines before, and this one by far is just easier to use. So I love it. You can punch a lot more holes at once. So with the paper guide pushed all the way right there, I'm lining up the bottom of my papers here, and then I'm just going to push down and create the first set of holes. And I need to do continuous holes all the way up. And so the next thing that you do is you slide out that guide all the way to the left, and then again you line up you count from the last hole that you punched, the second one from the right basically, and you're going to line it up with that little lever on the machine, and it actually pushes down, and so you push it down into that second hole, and then it will hold your paper in place so that all of your punches end up being nice and straight. And then on the machine itself, it tells you, like, depending on how tall of a book you're working with, it tells you which of these holes you need to pull out so that they won't punch. That way you're not getting like a half of a punch at the edge of the page or whatever. So you just have a nice clean set of holes from the top to the bottom. Because if you see here, like if I wouldn't have pulled out that number 8 hole, it would have cut like just a little, like a half square at the top. So anyway, I'm just going to go through and do this. I'm just starting the whole process over, starting it aligned all the way left, pulling out the arm, and then lining up with that second hole and pulling out it actually ended up being number 8 for me, but it might be different for you depending on what size of paper you're using. And so I will continue doing this for all of my papers. You could do, I don't know, 3 to 4 sheets of paper, but that's just because, like I said, mine was pretty heavy. And so here I'm putting my coils onto the machine. This is a great feature of the cinch machine, is a little holder for you. And I want the seam from the coils to be hidden kind of in the back cover. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the back cover and flip it around to the front side. So it's basically laying facing the front cover. It's on the front right now. And I'm loading all the papers from the back side forward onto my coils here. Again, just starting from the back of the book, working to the top, just making sure everything is lined up. And so when I did, I flipped them over, so just to keep them organized, but you can do that however you want. So when I get to the end here, I should have the covers on the front. So the first page actually is the back cover and then the front cover. And now I need to just trim off, I'm using some wire cutters here, all of the extra coils. You could have done that ahead of time, but it was just as easy to do it afterwards. So on the back side of the cinch machine, there is this little knob, and you adjust that based on the width of the coil that you're using. I'm using 1.25 inches, so I have it basically as big as it will go. And just want to make sure that it's nice and straight in there and that you're not like in the middle of any of the coils when you push this lever down. So you push the same lever down and it pushes the O-rings together, and then because it's so long I have to do it twice. And then I'm just going to flip the back cover back around to where it's supposed to be, and it will take that seam and tuck it in on the back side. So I'm going to show that right here. You can see that's just tucked in there, and that just is a good way to protect that area, and it also keeps pages from falling out and everything. So this is what my little book is going to look like, and it's got room in it that I'll be able to add things to it. I can make my pages chunky. I can add pockets. I can do quite a lot with it. I haven't glued all the pages together yet. I may or may not do that. Like I said, I'm going to be creating pockets and, tuck spots and that kind of thing. So I'll be doing that as I go through the book. This is just kind of a quick flip through here of these first few pages and some of the designs that are in the printables. And I wanted to show you too, I mentioned you can add on things. So if you have something you want to add in, you can just punch the holes and then create a little cut with your scissors, and then it will snap right in, kind of the same way that a disc bound system works. You can do it with coil bindings as well. So if you liked this video, I would appreciate it if you gave it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. And until next time, bye-bye.